Hey everyone, my name is Mike Smith, also known as Screaming Joypad, and this is the GOGCast, the GOG.com podcast, broadcast live on Twitch and later found on the YouTubes and the SoundClouds for those of you who are interested. Now, don't forget, you can type in GOG.com to follow us on all your social media outlets, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all those sort of sexy things, and of course twitch.tv if you're listening to or watching this at another venue. Twitch.tv featured twitch.tv/GOG.com, not just Twitch itself. I'm not just promoting Twitch, promise. Twitch.tv/GOG.com. Basically, we've got a team of, I think now, nearly 30 streamers, 30 international streamers covering various time zones, streaming various games. All basically because they love doing it. And yeah, everyone can get behind that. But one of the things we can also get behind is the fact that we're here because of GOG.com, the DRM-free gaming store, currently featuring, last count, about 1,500 DRM-free games. What is DRM-free, I hear you ask? Well, I'll tell you, children. Basically, when you purchase a video game from GOG.com, it's yours. Nobody else's. It's yours. Just yours. Yes, you. You, not you. The behind you. That one. Yes, you. It's yours. No connections to external devices, no connections to external services. You get their game, that's it. So, if any servers ever go poof, then the game is still yours. Right, so, enough about that. Let's get on with the show. So, joining me around the digital table this evening, we've got some very special guests. I'm just going to unmute everybody as everyone rapidly presses unmute on their microphones. So, we've got the one and only, the man who is a crust above the rest. It's Mega Pieman PhD. Hello, Mega Pieman.
Hello! How's it going?
It's going well. How are you this week?
I'm definitely doing.
You're doing? You're definitely doing.
I'm doing.
You're definitely doing. Okay, that's all we can ask for. Also, my past self, my brother from another Canadian mother, it is the one and only Flayos. Hi, Flayos.
Hey. How you doing? You just said you were doing well. I'm doing well, thank you. Good to see you.
Stuff. However, Flayos and I are wearing almost identical T-shirts as well.
That's true.
Which is, it's getting a bit eerie now, I've got to admit.
Well, here's the question. Have you ever seen Mike and Flayos in the same room at the same time?
Don't ruin the illusion. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. And joining us this week, we have some very special guests. We have Hugo Blanc and Jerome Levat, programmers from Zombie Night Terror, which is available on GOG.com. I'd like to welcome you both to the show. Thank you for joining us.
Hello. Hello.
Let's brush over the fact that I may have pronounced people's names incorrectly because I don't do languages other than English. I don't even do English very well, as you all know. Let's be perfectly honest with it. Right, so guys, developer guests, I want to ask you a very quick question. If I didn't know, I already know about Zombie Night Terror because I obviously do research for the show. I'm interested in it. But if I was completely clueless about Zombie Night Terror, how would you sell it to me? How would you tell me, if I were to walk up to you at a trade show or whatever and say, what's your game about? What would you tell me in order to get me interested?
I will start with it's a zombie game, but a special one.
So,
a zombie game where you play the zombies and you need to eradicate the entire humanity. Basically, the game is have a Lemmings gameplay with a lot of features that we have added, but it's like a Lemmings with zombies, if you want to make short.
That's it. That should be a box quote. It's like Lemmings with zombies. That's it. Done. Go home. No marketing needed.
Zommings, if you will.
Zommings.
Yeah.
So can you tell us how does the whole Lemmings aspect of it kind of fit into it? What sort of gameplay aspects have you got in there?
I think the main reason behind that is because we like the Lemmings gameplay, and there is not so much successful games that use this kind of gameplay, and we were thinking Lemmings are really dumb, and zombies are really dumb too. And because of the zombie hype that is here worldwide since few years, it's perfect. Zombie don't have brains, so it's like the perfect gameplay to play like zombies.
Yeah. Excellent stuff. So we're just watching a trailer at the moment, and I've noticed you've got different types of zombies as well. Are there many different types that have special abilities, or have you just got your normal walkers and one or two others, that sort of thing?
No, it's much more complicated than that. We have 4 different kind of zombies. The regular one that you see. We have like the overlord that give orders to the other ones. We have the tank, the big one that can tank bullets and make big screams and you know steroids. And we have like the crawler that can climb to the walls, be sneaky.
Yeah.
So on all these 4 different kind of zombies, you can mix them with 5 different actions, like make them run, make them jump, make them scream, make them explode. And if you combine all these possibilities, you have 20 combo possible that made different actions on the level. Like it's not the same action if you make a tank scream that if you make a regular zombie scream.
Oh right, okay. So it has different effects on them depending on which zombie you use it on.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, nice, excellent. Now, Pyman, you streamed this earlier today, didn't? Is that correct?
Yes, I did.
Excellent stuff. So, do you want to talk about how you found the game and what it was like?
Well, it's definitely an interesting game. I cannot say how much it is like Lemmings, because I never played a Lemmings game. I know very little about the history of Lemmings. There was apparently there was a platform game at some point. Other than that, it does follow that same kind of concept that I know from that, where the zombies, they kind of just go. They go without thinking about it, and they won't do anything unless you specifically tell them to. And there's really a lot of strategy to try to not only figure out what you need to do to complete the main objective, but every level also has secondary objectives. I didn't get too far into the game. I believe I only played to level 4, mainly because I was focusing on completing those secondary objectives. The secondary objectives are actually fairly difficult to 100% complete a level. I got stuck on level 4 where I had to destroy a van. But the main thing, yes, that became a very fun thing for chat, because it took me forever to actually get the van to want to blow up. Apparently in a zombie apocalypse, the best thing in the world to ever use to defend yourself is a delivery van. So keep that in mind. I
shall remember that. Yeah, I'll remember that.
I know I'm going to remember it. I learned that the hard way. But for that particular level, it was very difficult to figure out exactly how to get to the delivery van, because the delivery van constantly created new enemies that to deal with. And your zombies can attack, but I only had the basic zombies, so the only thing that they really had was numbers. And a level will finish if you kill all of the humans in that level. So you had to use the different abilities I had of making zombies explode, using the overlords to tell them where to go so they didn't fall off in a corner and die, and to make sure that I was able to destroy the van before they killed all the different zombies. And there's, of course, different power-ups, that sort of thing. The whole idea of the game is like a sort of a 50s B movie, except people have cell phones. So it's not exactly a 50s B movie, but there's a drug called Romero, which I guess is based off of John Romero.
George A. Romero.
I keep saying John Romero every time.
You know, that John Romero guy. His brother.
Sorry.
Don't worry about it. It's his brother.
I'm sorry. They're not related at all, but I don't know why I keep getting it wrong. But you can collect the drug and you can infect people to turn them into zombies. The first thing you do is there's a bunch of people outside of a movie theater. You infect a guy with the drug and then it spreads out from there. So there really is a lot of strategy to the game to trying to figure out exactly what to do when and to make sure your zombies don't just walk off a cliff and die. Kind of like Lemmings, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much.
Exactly.
Yeah, that sounds right. So, I'm interested, what was Lemmings like your only real kind of major influence, or is it like an amalgamation of different influences that sort of brought everything together? I'm interested to know how you really came up with the idea of, hey, let's make Lemmings but with zombies.
Lemmings is the main inspiration for the gameplay, but we took some inspiration too from all this zombie hype, like Walking Dead or all the zombie games in the market too, like Left 4 Dead or other ones. And of course, we added like a really old style, like old B movies, horror movies, like you said. So we just mix all of that to have this awesome game.
Cool.
I think
sorry,
that
Paul,
I've
please.
never. I don't mean to cut you off.
No, no.
I've never played Lemmings, but I do find the idea of Zombie Night Terror a bit more interesting. Not necessarily because of the zombies, but because it's not just strictly puzzle solving. There is a element of combat added into it, so you need to make sure that you tell your zombies to do the correct things at the correct time, so they don't all flat out die. You need to make sure your timing's correct, so that they don't all die to some guy with a gun who's hiding in a corner, because they sometimes do that. So I think the addition of combat and what you can tell your zombies to do is a bit more of an evolution over just the straight up puzzle solving that you had in the game.
Yeah, exactly. But because in our game there is a lot of different kind of levels. There are levels that are more puzzle games. Puzzle levels like Lemmings, where you really need to think about what you will do with your zombies. But there are a lot of different kinds. We have like action-based levels, timing-based levels, other levels that mix all of that. And we have different objectives. Like in some levels, you just need to kill everyone, but in other levels, we have like objective to kill a specific target or to move at a specific point in less than like 3 minutes or something. So it's add a lot of different gameplay possibilities and fun in the game.
Excellent. It sounds. I've got to admit. So you've got like characters in the game that can defend themselves. Is it just human with gun? Do you have like a lot of variants of humans with guns? Do you have like melee specialists and stuff like that?
Yeah, there are some melees and also some mechanical enemies.
Oh, like turrets and stuff like that, like turrets and machine
stuff
guns.
like drones or turrets and
Lasers.
Yeah,
Poison.
a lot of traps too. So yeah, it's not just
Freaking
organic
lasers.
enemies. So there's a lot of variety in the enemy you encounter in the game.
Yeah, you have like regular gun guys, shotguns, chainsaw, sniper guy, cannon guy, automatic turrets. You can die from the 8 by falling. You can die from poison. You can die from radiation. You can die from lasers. You can die by just sacrificing your zombies.
Just by sacrificing. So do you have to get? Because I've watched gameplay, but I haven't played it yet. Do you have to get a certain amount, so like a percentage of the zombies through? Pieman might be able to answer this as well, actually. Or is it just like you have to get all of your zombies through?
It depends on the levels. On the main objectives generally are to kill specific targets or to kill a certain amount of humans, but on the additional objectives, sometimes you need to have at least a certain amount of zombies alive. Dead at the end of the level.
Yeah.
Usually when you have to reach the end of the level, it's just 1 or 2 zombies. Because it's quite difficult to just get 1 or 2. So yeah,
Cool.
the levels are made like that. So.
Yeah. So how long is the game? How many levels are there?
There are 40 levels across 4 chapters.
40?
40, yeah.
Bloody hell. That's a lot of levels. I thought you were going to say like, oh, there's 12 or something like that. Like, they'd be quite complicated by the end of it. 40? Jeez, you're certainly getting a lot of game for your dollar there, aren't you?
Yes, 40
Sure.
levels without counting all the sub-levels that can be like small introduction to some features or to some levels that are big. They are sometimes divided with small introductions, but it's 40 without counting them.
Is there just the main campaign mode, or are there any like challenge modes or anything like defeat the level with all your zombies intact, that sort of thing?
Yeah, that's the general principle of our additional objectives. So you-
Oh, right. So
the
it's in the main
challenges,
game.
Yeah, you can finish the 40 levels without finishing the additional objectives, but finishing all the 40 challenges, that's a real challenge.
Yeah.
Do you get anything for doing that? For getting all the challenges?
Bragging rights.
Not right now, but we are thinking about it for an update and trying to find something that could be fun.
A pat on the back. Good
Yeah,
job,
yeah.
man.
There you go.
You did it.
Congratulations, you've won!
A single graphic that just says "You are winner." That's all you need.
Perfect.
You done won the game. I had a question then. I've completely forgotten what it was.
That's
What
all right.
was-
I got a question.
Oh, but fire away, man! Fire away. You've played it.
I'll save you. The only question that I can think of right now is the game looks like it is the kind of a thing that could benefit from something like a level editor. Is there anything like that or any plans to add one?
It's not there yet. We are using one for developing the game, but it's not user-friendly now. So we'll try to have a beta in a few months when we have the time to do it. And yeah, it will come someday.
Yep,
Nice.
it will come for free
It will.
as a free
Oh.
update, the level editor.
Awesome.
The same as we are using for the entire game. So you will be everyone will be able to create the same quality levels as we are, including
better.
like cutscenes, camera scrollings, dialogues, patrol of the humans, everything.
I do have to say, I really like the dialogue in the game so far and how your characters speak in just flat out gibberish. It's always fun.
Excellent. So has the
Yeah,
sorry if I initially to ask this, is the level editor DLC has that been announced that it's going to be free, or could that be a GOGCast exclusive? I did a weird hand motion then.
Yeah, no, it has been announced yet, so no.
Okay,
Next
that,
week.
it's still exciting, but you know, if you've got anything you want to exclusively reveal on the show, that would be very appreciated. We do have a question actually. Wiseart in chat asks, "Are there any leaderboards?"
No,
No?
not on the PC version, no.
Well, that answers that.
I personally don't like leaderboards because they are always cheated by someone.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
they are.
This is
Every
true.
time.
Yeah, this is true.
So if there is one someday, it will be just with your friends
Yeah.
on Steam or on GOG or whatever platform it's on.
GOG
No.
or
I'm
those
kind
other
of-
people.
I'm surprised there's not, considering that the levels do have a timer on them.
Sorry. This was our goal at some point. The challenges was not designed like that to begin with. The first design for the challenges was to kill everyone in a certain amount of time and with some certain amount of zombies left. But it was always the same thing. So you just basically always did the same thing in every level to get the challenge. So it was kind of boring.
Mm.
So we changed it.
I think that was a good call.
It would be used to get a leaderboard someday.
So it's a possibility, but at the moment, no. Basically.
Nope. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. That's a very direct answer for the question. We would have just accepted no. That's it. That's a perfectly acceptable answer as well. Pieman, have you got any other questions at the moment?
Not really.
Okay.
The game, I enjoyed what I played of Zombie Night Terror. I'm definitely looking forward to maybe playing a little bit more. It's a very straightforward kind of game that it's easy to understand what you have. It's one of those games that easy to play, hard to master. It's very
Yes.
easy to understand what you have to do, but the fact of actually trying to do it is generally much more difficult than it necessarily thought it would be. I do appreciate that there is a ability to instantly restart right at the pause menu, because it's very easy to mess up your plan, I find. I also appreciate that you added a fast forward button, since the zombies, they're zombies. They're slow. They're not. These aren't Left 4 Dead zombies. These aren't infected. They are zombies, and they are really slow.
Yeah, you can either speed up the time or make them run.
Yeah.
You can make them run?
Of course you can.
How do you make them run?
I don't think you got there yet.
Maybe not. Maybe that's a specific mutation that you have to unlock.
Yeah, you unlock it at the 9th level in the first chapter.
Ah, I see.
Yeah, I didn't get that far. I only got in 4 levels because I was spending my entire time trying to break a van.
But you did it. The important thing is that you did it. So
Yay! Go Pyvad! Yay! Yeah, shiny medal for breaking a van. Congratulations.
It took me... The biggest problem I had with that is that it took me a while really to realize the level ends once you kill all of the humans. So even though the van was spawning new humans, whenever the zombies killed everybody, then the level would end whether the van was broken or not. So if you ever play Zombie Night Terror, keep that in mind. You want to keep at least one human alive until you've completed all of the objectives.
We also have another question. Are there any plans for a Linux version that you're aware of?
There is
This is a common question amongst our community.
There is a possibility of a Linux version, but nothing that is sure, and of course no ETA or no date planned, and we just need to run some tests on different kind of Linux, and we will see what we can do, but there is nothing sure at the moment.
Especially right now when you have so much to do.
Yeah, of course. Right now we need to focus on the first bugs or little problems that came up from the first feedback of the players. We have like one achievement that is not unlocking, but okay, that's not a big deal, but it's a lot of small things that we need to fix, and then we will focus on the level editor, and maybe a Linux version too. Who knows?
So it's almost a GOGCast exclusive. I just want to throw that out there. Almost. We nearly got that.
I just want to use that thing.
Speaking of bugs, I did come across one tiny little glitch I can't remember which level it was in. It was in one of the levels where you had to blow up a floor and the zombies were falling down into an area, which that's very descriptive. It was within the first 4 levels, I'll say that much. I came across an instance where the zombie fell off a cliff and died, and another one fell off a cliff behind it. And I guess it died, but it was stuck in the falling animation with its head in the already other dead zombie's crotch.
Oh, that's the swimming zombie.
Swimming
zombie. We know this bug. We will try to fix it. We already know about this one, but it's kind of funny because the zombie is stuck in the falling animation. It looks like he's swimming.
Yes, it was especially funny since it was right on top of another dead zombie's crotch that had happened. So
he was swimming in his brain body.
It was interesting, but. I'm glad that you guys are already working on it.
Yeah.
So is that kind of your current day-to-day at the moment, just kind of fixing critical bugs and going through community feedback, or are you already working on something else already?
Oh no, just taking care of the problem some people are having, and fixing bugs. Not really got time to do anything else.
I imagine.
So it's basically our day.
Cool, excellent stuff. One of my favorite questions to ask people is there anything that you had to take out of the game that you wanted to leave back in?
One thing that was scrapped from a long time ago was the female zombie, and a lot of people are asking for it. But it's a lot of work to be doing that, because all the animation needs to be duplicated from the original zombie, and it's not as easy as in a 3D game where you just need a different model and the same animation. For a pixel art game, you need to redo all the sprite, and just for the zombies, there are more than 4,000. So it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
That's something that
fair enough then.
that's something that the chat picked up on during my stream. They found it a little bit odd that there was only one basic kind of zombie. But I do have to say, even though the game is pixel art, the animation is really top notch. So you guys did a really good job with that.
It
Yeah,
does look
thanks.
it. It does look it very much.
Cloud is quite gifted with that. So yeah, he did a great job.
Excellent stuff. Pyman, did you have any other comments from your stream? Any questions or anything like that?
Nothing particularly. I understand that. I don't know. Maybe. No, I can't think of anything.
No, that's absolutely fine. So what was
It was
the
a fun
hardest-
game.
Oh,
That's all I can say. It was a fun game. Definitely should check it out. It's available on GOG.com.
and it's currently 15% off as well. Because I've done
It's
my
available
homework.
DRM free on GOG.com.
There you go, soundbite for us. What was the hardest part of development?
Oh, I don't know.
Come on.
There
We're
is
all
so
friends here.
much.
We're all friends here.
It's a hard question to respond to, so I don't know.
Of course, there is some up and down parts on the entire team because sometimes we were trying some features or some things that wasn't working, so we had to like roll back or cancel some small features. So it's always sometimes that you lose. It can affect a little bit like the team motivation, but it's like up and downs on projects that last more than 2 years and a half. So I don't see a particular difficult part. Nothing in particular.
Oh, excellent stuff. That was also going to be one of my additional questions. Was how long did it take to actually make the game? Was it 2.5 years? Did you say?
Yeah, we started in September 2013.
Oh, excellent stuff. So the game's currently available on GOG. It sounds really, really cool. Is there anything? Is it just the actual levels, or do you have any like themed levels, like a boss level or anything like that, in between the actual chapters, or is it just basically you've got the levels and then you go from one area to the next and then more levels?
I don't want to spoil because there is an entire narrative story that you will see and learn and by playing all the levels. But yes, there are some boss levels with special enemies, special characters that you really need to think through how to beat. But I won't spoil because
that's absolutely fine. I just a bit of a tease is all we need there on GOG.
Yes, there are some awesome bosses. 4 of them on the 4 chapters.
Nice.
So, Pyman, did you find the game quite easy to pick up?
It was pretty easy to understand once you got into it. The game does a pretty good job of teaching you exactly what you need to do. There's nothing that I found super difficult to figure out what I had to do. Generally, all the sub-levels that are introduced into the game, if you can't finish the sub-level, then you don't understand the mechanic. So, so far from what I've played, you guys did a pretty good job of really teaching the player how to use everything. There are some nuances that I don't think the game necessarily taught, like the chat was telling me about something like the explosion.
Mm-hmm.
So you can a explosion that will knock zombies around. You can actually use that to shoot your zombies forward if you have an enemy that's at a distance. And explosions will also kill enemies as well as break open walls and that kind of a thing. So there is some interesting combinations that are there to find. But for the most part,
don't
it's a good job.
teach everything there is to know about the game. The player has to
try.
to find some interesting features.
And it's not
It's more fun.
and it's not like an obligation, because the first usage for the boomer, the explosion, is to break walls or to do a huge amount of damage, but you need on some levels to throw your zombie away with another zombie explosion, like you said, but it's for like an additional objective. So even if the player don't understand that immediately, that's not a big deal. He won't just have the additional challenge. That's all.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's the first level, yes.
I did find it useful for dealing with enemies that had guns. That way, it could get somebody within range a bit easier.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah, you
Guns
can
are
do that.
Guns are a pain in the butt. I have to say.
I
Just
like
in
the
general,
challenge.
yeah.
Like having played Lemmings, unlike certain people in this chat.
Oh,
You know, the
excuse me.
Disgraceful. Absolutely disgraceful. As if you've never
I'm sorry.
played
I'm
Lemmings.
sorry.
Well,
no,
we know
like-
what your next stream's going to be.
I
It's
know the
not on
first, like-
GOG, at least not
That's
yet.
true. That's true.
Sorry,
Maybe one
Fires,
day.
carry on.
That's okay. So I'm used to the first, 10 or 11 levels just being kind of tutorial levels. It's taking it really easy. But watching Pieman stream today, it really it takes off. The first level was pretty simple, pretty short, and then it's just like boom, you know what you're doing, go at it. And so it was. I like the challenge. I like that those 40 levels are actually meaty levels in the game and not just a whole bunch of tutorial levels first. But still teaching you the mechanics through those mini levels. I think it's really good game design, so I appreciate that.
Yeah,
For
it's
sure.
like doing tutorials without doing tutorial.
Yeah.
It's like integrate the tutorial, the explanation into simple levels. I think it's easier and it's a way better experience for the player to learn like that.
Definitely.
So I had a bit of a question. Is it one set mode, or are there different difficulty settings within the game? So
No,
like you'd get
that's
less.
difficult.
There is only one difficulty, and
Just
it
one,
is
okay.
quite difficult if you want
Okay.
all the challenges.
Not even just the challenges. Levels by themselves are not easy, especially in the third and fourth chapter. So, yeah, it's not for everyone, I guess.
No, that's absolutely fine. I didn't know if it would be a case of you guys would have, introduced different difficulty settings, and then I was going to ask what the sort of parameters for that would have been. So, like, if you'd have had less zombies to work with, or less specials, or more enemies, that sort of thing, or a shorter time period in order to get through the level. But actually having one, it's like Lemmings again. Going back
Yeah,
to
very
the
much
Lemmings,
so.
Going back to the Lemmings metaphor, it is like that in regards to you don't have difficult settings, you just have a difficult game basically. Which is cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. It is very
Because in Lemmings there was like the easy difficulty level, which were the first 40 levels or whatever it was,
Yeah.
and then medium was another grouping of levels that were harder. And so it's the same kind of idea, I think, with the
Yeah.
four difficulty levels, maybe being the four chapters. I don't know what to call it.
Yeah,
Sections.
but with the level editor that will come in a few months, you will have, I think, a lot of user-created content. So I think you will be able to play really hard levels and maybe some easy carnage or easy annihilation with your zombies if the players create this kind of levels.
Well, if there's anything I know about level creators or level editors, it's that people love to use it as an excuse to make the most difficult level they can possibly
Yeah.
think of.
Oh my
Always,
days!
always.
Do you think you could make auto
I
levels?
really hope. Well, my suggestion to you guys, level editor, is please make it so that people have to beat their level before they can
Yeah, that's planned.
upload it somewhere if
Yeah.
or it's considered finished.
Yeah, it was the idea was to have two mods. One where you have to finish it, and some kind of sandbox where you can do whatever you want in the level. And this one wouldn't have many options to, but it would be flagged as a sandbox, so you would know it not necessarily be finished.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so I'm kind of out of questions. I haven't got any questions from chat at the moment, so I'm just kind of trying to... I want to talk about the soundtrack as well. I've only heard a tiny bit of the soundtrack, but I don't know who did it, and I don't know what sort of style you were going for. So could we talk about
Soundtrack is great, I have to say. It really does a good job of encapsulating like 80s B horror movies.
See, I heard like 2 seconds in the trailer because I was getting the trailer and everything ready for the podcast, and I only heard like 2 seconds of the trailer. But the soundtrack sounds really nice. It's going. It seems like it's going for that sort of 80s electro rhythm to it. To be perfectly honest, but yeah, I just wanted to talk about that. Who composed it? That sort of thing.
Yeah, so we have a guy we really appreciate that work with us for all the sound of the game and all the music and all the soundtrack that is available to buy. The guy's name is Romain Trottel, and yeah, there is a lot of different. There is different kind of musics in the soundtrack. There is in total like 20 tracks. It's like almost a little bit more than 1 hour if you listen to it. And there is, as you said, of course, like old school music, 8-byte music. We have like one music that looks like an elevator music, but a little bit funnier than that because we have like a level where you need to climb up on an elevator hole with your zombies. That's why we have this special music. We have special musics for some bosses, special musics when the action starts to be really intense. So yeah, there is a lot of work on the sound and music design into the game.
Excellent stuff. Yeah, I'm kind of out of questions, to be perfectly honest. It sounds like, from what I've seen and what I've watched, it sounds and looks like a really, really cool, interesting game. I mean, aside from the fact that you basically started the podcast by saying, yeah, it's like Lemmings but with zombies, and I was just like, what? You know, I was immediately sold on that. Yeah, it seems absolutely fantastic. Is there anything you want to share with us in regards to the development cycle, in regards to the story of getting the game out, or anything like that, or even post-release? Is there anything... Oh, that's a really good question, actually. Sorry, on a bit of a tangent. What's the most humorous bug that you've found so far?
Except the swimming zombie, you mean?
Except the swimming zombie. If that is the most humorous bug, then fair enough.
Yeah,
I found it very humorous, personally.
That's the one, at least the one still in the game. But yeah, no, I don't know.
Yeah, is it the swimming zombies one?
Then, so.
Yeah, if it's the swimming zombies one, that's absolutely fine. But yeah, how's sorry,
Yeah.
carry on.
So yeah, some player just sent us an animated image where a climber, a crawler, is being hit when it's climbing a wall, and then it stop and continue going up and up and up like just. I don't know. I can.
Is it just like going? Is it just like going off the screen, sort of thing?
Yeah, just like when
Exactly.
you die in Alex Kidd, when you have your character
Oh.
just up and
Yeah, we have a zombie doing Alex Kidd and going out of the screen.
Just raising up.
Yeah, maybe he's trying to go to heaven, but it's not his place.
Yeah. We do actually have a quick question from chat. Tameable Nebula has asked, are there any plans for expansions? And if there are, what would they include?
we have some plans for fifth chapters, but maybe we'll try something else because it's a lot of work and it takes a long time to get it right.
Mm-hmm.
So we have another idea, but I don't want to spoil it. So
Nothing
Yeah,
you can
The only
tease us
thing we can-
with?
Yeah, the only thing we can talk right now, I think, is the level editor that is coming for free.
That is quite cool. I must admit the fact that your first lump of essentially DLC, because it's additional content to the game, would be absolutely free, and that's across all platforms presumably. Because is it? It's on PC. Is it coming to consoles as well?
Not console.
Just
we are
PC only.
Yeah, for now, yeah. We are talking about mobile version for tablets. And
Oh, right. Oh, I can see that, yeah.
yeah,
Considering that the game does let you pause it so you can think out your thoughts, I could see a mobile version working.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Yeah, and the control can really work with like the touch design, like, but of course with big screens. So probably only on like iPads and Android tablets, but not
Yeah.
on smaller screens. Because
Yeah.
you need to be precise when you select zombies or affect mutations. So, yeah, I think mobile can be a good option for the future. We do not have, of course, release dates or something. It's currently in discussion, but yeah, probably.
Yeah, it's a very good chance that will happen, but you could neither confirm nor deny it. Basically, I did just notice you sent me the GIF in regards to the crawler just constantly
that's
climbing
fantastic.
into space. Basically, Alex, what I'm now calling the Alex Kidd bug. If you're watching this. If you're watching this on Twitch, it's in chat right now. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'll stick a link in the description.
Oh yeah, we
and
need
SoundCloud,
to figure
I'll
it
poke it out.
how how does this happen? Is it when a cop fire on the zombie and at the same time the zombie start to jump and take a bullet and another zombie behind just scream? Is that all that mixed together that creates that bug? So yeah, who knows? We will investigate.
Yeah. We also have another question. Quirex asks, how many people were on the team?
It's not an easy question because I think we can summarize it by saying that there was like 4.5 people full time, but not
4.5.
always the same people. We had like 3 people full time. Some guys that were helping us on different points on their free time weekends. We got some help in game design and level design by a French guy. And this guy have another work in the same time.
Yep.
And about the sound and the music, it's like 8 months, 1 year.
Yeah.
The guy worked with us for 8 months or 1 year. So I don't know exactly how many people worked on that, but yeah, it's like a 4 core member team plus 2 or 3 extra members that work on specific points.
And what did you two work on specifically?
Creating bugs and
fixing bugs.
So you were the programmer half of the team?
Yeah, we are both the 2 programmers of the game.
Oh, okay, perfect.
There is one graphical artist, just a single one that is making all the landscapes, the decors, all the sprites, the animations, frame by frame for all the humans, for all the zombies, for all the 20 combo of zombies. Yep, that's it.
I like how
Excellent
you
stuff.
described your job as making bugs and then fixing bugs.
Yep.
Yep.
Being
And on
a
the-
software tester, I appreciate that.
Yeah, on the core team there is the 4th John, the 4th guy that is doing all the special effects, FX, shaders, and is helping a lot too on the graphical part.
Nice.
That's for the core team.
Marvelous.
2 developers
Yeah.
and 2 artists.
Excellent. Absolutely fine. So, NoClip itself, was it you guys that actually founded the company?
sorry, what?
The company, the actual development company itself. Was it you guys? Because I was reading about you guys, and I believe it was it you two? It was Hugo and who else was it? Was one of the founders?
Carl and John and Jerome.
All right, so
Well,
it's
the
basically
4
all
of
of you.
us. Yes, the 4 of us. We just created the company together.
That's what I get for
yeah.
only reading half my research notes. Yeah, excellent stuff. Right. So I haven't got any more questions from chat. I personally don't have any more questions. I don't know if Paimon or Flaos have any more questions.
I don't have a question, but I do have a comment.
Yeah.
When I signed up for GOGCast this week, I was looking at the new releases and I saw, obviously, that Zombie Night Terror was being released. And so this is my first reaction. I hope you guys aren't offended by this, but I was just like, oh, another zombie game. I was like, okay, I guess I'll check it out because we're going to be talking about it. I didn't realize you would even be here, but we were going to talk about it, so I checked out the trailer. First thing in this trailer, it's Daft Punk. It's a Daft Punk concert, just like a second. I'm like, I love this. This is fantastic. This is going to be great. And then it continues. The music, and then just this Lemmings with zombies. I was like, this is amazing. And so I was pleasantly surprised by a great trailer. And so, did you guys make that trailer, or did someone else do that for you? Or?
No, it's our publisher who comment.
Oh yeah. Well, it's a great trailer.
Gambitious made this trailer.
Yeah, and they did a great job for all the communication and advertisement part. So.
Yeah,
Yep.
definitely made me
Because
interested.
as I said previously, the core team is composed with 2 programmers and 2 artists. So
Right.
maybe you remark that there is absolutely no one that take care of like marketing, communications,
Yeah.
press relations, all this kind of thing, project management. So that was a really great idea to go with Gambitious because they can take care of all of that. And, because we don't have to do that, we are just free and can be really full-time on the game. And, the guy at Gambitious are really awesome because they are not giving us any constraint. It's our game.
Really?
We are doing anything we want, and they are just here to help us on the other sides of the game creation.
That's awesome.
That's really cool. The fact that they've not given you any kind of restrictions or anything like that. Because you do hear stories about developers being almost shackled by contracts with publishers, and it's quite nice. I suppose some indie publishers for indie developers have just let go of that kind of mentality, and especially in the last number of years, you've seen indie publishers that have just sort of gone, no, we'll publish it, we'll take care of all the project management stuff and all this side. You just make the game, and we'll do the rest.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Cool.
That's why we really loved working with these guys. And they are doing really great job with all the press and all the communications that they are doing for the game. So it's a really good combo.
There's even a big contest going on right now with GOG and Gambitious.
If you want to.
Actually, it's a huge contest. Let me throw a link to it.
What contest is it?
Well, let me throw a
players.
link to it because I've lost it right now. There we go. Twitter contest.
I think you lost it a long time ago, Flares.
What? Here we go. So, the grand prize winner. Well, first of all, let me tell you what this contest is. It's a Twitter contest. Gambitious Horde wants to pick your brain. So tweet the best zombie army name ideas to @Gambitious Inc. until July 29th for a chance to win some awesome gaming swag. So here are the prizes. Grand prize winner: one brand new NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1070 Founders Edition GPU plus the game.
What?
Yeah, so like a 1070, that's pretty good. Second prize, a Rocket Kova gaming mouse and Taito Control mousepad with a copy of the game. And third prize winners, multiple apparently, three winners will get one copy of the game. So that's a pretty sweet contest. And so I think you guys should check that out for sure.
Excellent stuff. And I'm assuming
Yeah.
you have a link to
The
that.
GPU,
Yeah.
I think, is a really good prize.
That's a wicked prize.
Yeah, that's
so,
not just a good prize. That's like the best prize, to be perfectly honest.
so yeah,
That's the toppest prize.
I've thrown a
Obviously,
link in chat for that.
Yeah.
So
The link will
Check
be
it
in the
out, guys.
description of the video and also the SoundCloud as well.
I
Just
may
let me know.
just have to try to enter that contest.
I've entered. Matt's entered. Probably other people have entered. Chrono
I
Wolf,
was
I mean.
I was literally about to ask, are we allowed to enter considering that we stream for GOG?
We're not employees.
You know that's true. We don't get paid. So
There you go.
there you go.
Okay,
So, yeah.
so moving swiftly on. There is a contest going on with some absolutely fantastic prizes. There will be
Yeah.
a link in the description. There's a link in chat right now, so you can check that out. There'll be a link in the description also. We've been nattering, it's been ages now. We've been talking about Zombie Night Terror, which you should definitely check out. If you've not already checked it out, check it out on GOG.com. It's 15% off at the moment. There is a link now in the chat description thing. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, definitely check it out. So we're going to sign off there with you guys. Unless you guys... Sorry?
I'd recommend the game, definitely. I mean, control zombies, take over the world.
Yep.
We'll send it to like.
Absolutely.
Think of what other games exist that let you actually be the zombies.
Be the zombie.
Outside of
say.
like that's Stubbs the zombie game.
I could probably think of a couple, but they're all modes of different games. Like, there's no... I can't think of a game that its main mode is kill humanity. Well, no, I can.
Mm-hmm.
Main mode is be a zombie and kill humanity.
Yeah, that's boring to just shoot at the zombies. It's funnier, to play as them and
Yeah.
to try to kill the guy with brains, like the humans.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, yeah, so we're going to sign off there. I want to thank you guys for joining us. It's been absolutely fantastic. Thank you for talking about the game. We all wish you
Thanks for the
absolute best of
invitation.
luck. No, absolutely. The door is always open. So if you have anything you want to either talk about on the stream or any other content or games, come to GOG. You've got all our contact details. You just let us know, and you've always got a seat here.
Okay.
All right. So thanks very much for joining us. We shall speak to you again.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Bye. Right. So what I'm going to do is we're going to hang up there. Oh, that kind of works actually. We should do this more often with just like one person using the webcam, because that kind of works, to be perfectly honest. Don't worry, the GOGCast itself isn't actually going anywhere, so don't worry about that. But the devs are now no longer here. They're no longer with us. They have joined the undead. So I'm just going to take care of some very important stream business, which obviously for the audio only people this will mean nothing to you, but for the video people, basically it now still looks like we've got developer guests, but I need to just take care of all
I've zoomed in
so.
like crazy.
You
What
are
just
zoomed in
happened?
like crazy. Well, that's just it. When you remove somebody from the scene, then from the chat group, it rearranges all of the window sizes.
Yes.
So it's unfortunately just one of those things. There you are less zoomed in now, but I will have to redo this. So I'm going to ask you guys just talk about one of the games that have been released this week. Let's talk about some of the humongous games that were released recently by EA that have come to GOG.
Humongous Entertainment did not release any games recently on GOG.
Oh,
Much to the chagrin
Those
of
have been on
T-Official.
GOG for a while.
how long have you been waiting to use that one?
About 5 seconds from when you said
Oh.
humongous.
Then you are an incredibly witty man, and I hate you for it.
We need some putt-putt. Putt-putt goes to the...
He's going to the
Wherever.
moon, man. No other car has ever gone to the moon.
Oh, boy.
Normally you have to design a specific kind of vehicle to go to the moon, but no, Putt-Putt just does it on his own. He's that good. Although they've never had Putt-Putt goes to the mini golf course, which I think they're missing out on. I'm done. I'm done talking about humongous entertainment games.
All
Let's
right.
move on.
Let's
Go
talk
ahead.
about the actual big release.
Shall we talk about the actual big releases that were released recently? Oh god, I have absolutely no idea what happened there. Yeah, so a couple of big
Speaking of the
releases that came
moon,
out
though,
recently. I love the way you start a sentence with speaking of the moon.
I'm segueing it. You can't see it, but I'm doing a segue, a gesture with my arms right now. Just imagine it in your brain.
I will.
Segue.
Yeah.
Because the moon is in space.
Yeah.
And one of the EA games that came out this last week was
Dead Space.
Dead Space.
There you go.
Dun, dun,
Nice.
dun. Well done. Excellent stuff.
Nice work.
Yeah, so
Nice work.
EA have
That was
put some...
that was a lot of effort.
Oh
to get that
god,
to work.
Fleos' head is what is going on with these window captures?
I don't
Good
know what you're doing to me,
grief.
Mike. I don't know.
Neither do I. You're all over the shop. I've got Pier Jade's name up there as well. Good lord, it's almost like I don't know what I'm doing. Right, I'm sorted. As I'm done, I'm out. I'm done. I'm just gonna turn it off. We're just gonna have a blank screen. I've absolutely no idea. Right, yeah. So speaking of Dead Space, what do we think of Dead
Yes.
Space?
I'm embarrassed to say I've never really played it.
Really?
And this is right up my... From what I understand, Dead Space actually began life as System Shock 3, the original System Shock 3. And
Really?
and then IP problems made them switch it to a new IP. I might be blowing smoke here. I'm
If
pretty
that's
sure
true,
though.
that's fascinating. That's
Yeah, and
genuinely
so-
fascinating.
It's very much what like my kind of game because I love the System Shock series. And so the fact that I've never gotten into it is embarrassing. But if you guys like Dead Space, coming up next in 1 hour we have Chrono Wolf playing Dead Space.
We do. That was
series.
an
We do.
excellent segue. That was
Thank you.
absolutely fantastic. I have to admit, when I first played Dead Space, because I don't like spooky games and I don't really like jump scares, and it kind of that sort of put me off. But it wore very thin quite quickly. Like I was more interested in the gameplay and the combat and the upgrades. Because every now and then I knew full well a little face gribbly was going to try and eat me, and I just kind of accepted that after a little while. But I never played Dead Space 2, and I don't know if there's another one. Dead Space.
Dead Space 3.
There is a Dead Space
People
3.
don't
there-
talk about
is
Dead
there-
Space 3.
It's
Oh, do
very
we not-
different tonally.
Do
Dead
we not
Space
talk
3
about Dead
doesn't
Space 3
exist
anymore?
to some fans of the series.
Unconfirmed rumor.
I
The System
see.
Shock 3 thing is an unconfirmed rumor.
Oh, I see. Oh,
That's
just
probably true.
quick shout out for chat, by the way. At the moment, I am capturing all of your questions. Don't worry about it. We will ask them soon. Yeah. So Dead Space.
Mhm.
Yeah, I never played Dead Space 3. I think I was given a copy. I just never. I had literally no inclination to play it whatsoever.
It's got co-op, dude.
Does it?
It's
If
got-
it ever
I didn't even
comes- if it ever
know.
comes to GOG, we got to co-op it.
I didn't even know. Yeah, by all means. But yeah, I mean, Dead Space 1, I played through it, and this is going to sound really bad, but I played through it, but I don't know if I enjoyed it. Does that make sense? Like, I played through it, and I remember it, but I don't really know if I enjoyed it massively. Maybe it just turned me off a little bit. I'm not quite sure, but it just seemed like it was a bit... I don't know. Maybe I was expecting something different. I don't know.
That's fair. That's
I
fair.
There you
thought
go.
I thought
Dead
it was an interesting way of doing things. With they really tried to amp up the stakes with, at least for the first one, with survival horror. By it's like you're not a space marine, at least in Dead Space 1. You're an engineer who's put on a ship that you got a distress signal from. Nobody has any idea what's going on. The ship is like a planet cracker or something like that. So they're like harvesting or stuff from a planet, and you got no idea what's going on. So you're ill-equipped. You're basically Isaac is learning how to deal with the situation as you're learning how to play the game. He doesn't have any kind of voice acting or much of anything. And it was really cool that they made the game focused less on just shooting enemies and more on shooting enemies in specific places. Because the biggest thing with Dead Space is shooting one of the millions of limbs off of the different enemies instead of just shooting them normally. Because if you shoot them normally...
That was cool.
if you shoot them normally, they might die at some point. But if you shoot their limbs off, they're going to die a lot quicker. Which is weird when you think about it. But I guess if you don't have anything to attack with, like, you can't do much.
Yeah, I did like the fact that you could cut their limbs off. The cutter weapon was very cool for me, I must admit. That was... I think some of the equipment you got in the game in Dead Space was actually really cool, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. I think the whole, just the idea of EA games, because I think this is the first time an EA game has come to, or three of them, I guess, EA games have come to GOG.com since Origin really took off. And so...
well, these are pre-Origin games, but it is cool to see some of the more modern titles.
Yes.
With like Dragon Age and Dead Space.
I just mean since EA started their own service, this is the first time they've added new titles to GOG.com. Does that make sense?
It's quite cool, I must admit.
And so
I mean,
it gives me hope for the future of some more games. Maybe we'll get Dead Space 3 in 2025 or something. But
yeah, you never
Dead
know.
Space 3 had a bunch of microtransactions, so
yeah, that's true. That's true.
Wow,
We probably don't want that.
Dead Space 2 had multiplayer, and I remember playing a little bit of the multiplayer, the beta version of it, and I thought it was kind of interesting. It was kind of cool because one team played as Isaacs, so you were all Isaac. Everybody was Isaac. You had like 15 Isaacs, and the other team were all the necromorph zombie things. But you got to play as all of the weird necromorphs, so you got to play as the basic ones that had like the extra arms coming out of their shoulders, but they were also the kid necromorphs. And in the original game, they were like the baby necromorphs that exploded when you got too quick. I think maybe you could play as one of those things. Dead Space is a very twisted game when it comes to its enemies, by the way.
A little bit.
It's really weird.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
It kind of reminded me a little bit of the Mass Effect multiplayer, where it just seemed very like you had this story and you had this scenario, and suddenly they were just like, it was around the time everyone tried to crowbar in multiplayer, and I use that term. That's just a term I use. I don't mean they legitimately just tried to, say, fuck it, we'll just have multiplayer for the sake of having multiplayer. They may have done that. I'm not quite sure, but I'm sure there was a legitimate reason for it, and it was very enjoyable for people who played it. But it kind of felt like it didn't belong, if that makes sense.
That was sort of around the same time that BioShock 2 had multiplayer.
Again, you mean Race for the Big Daddy suit? That's all
I never
you did
played
in that game.
BioShock 2's multiplayer, but I was a little bit sad to find that the BioShock collection will not include the multiplayer.
Oh, they've turned off the servers, haven't they? So
You probably have the same
there's
thing with Dead
there's
Space
a
2.
Death of video games entry.
Mhm.
I don't know. It's just cool to see a big game or a bigger series. It's probably a dead series now, not only a
Dead
name.
Series. Sorry,
They haven't brought it back as an necromorph yet, but Dead Space 3 seems to have killed Dead Space. But it was a big series for a while, and a lot of people do enjoy those games. So it's just cool to see those make their way to GOG.com.
Yeah.
it is.
It is. Another one I'm really pleased it's come to GOG.com. Dragon Age. I can't believe Dragon Age is on GOG. It's DRM-free, Dragon Age Origins. It's not just Dragon Age Origins, it's Dragon Age Origins, the Ultimate Edition as well. It's really, really exciting, I must admit, because it's got all of the stuff that you would want from Dragon Age Origins. Personally,
Is it Origins or is it just Dragon Age? Dragon Age Origins was a prequel, I think. The first one was just Dragon Age, right?
That's right. So it's Origins that's on GOG.com.
Is it Origins that's on GOG.com?
It is Origins. It's Origins
No, it was
Ultimate
called
Edition.
Dragon Age Origins, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's what we're saying.
That wasn't the prequel. That was the first game that was released.
I thought Origins was the pre.
I thought it was the. I thought it.
Talk
we gotta look it up.
I'll Google it.
Because there's Dragon Age, there's Dragon Age 2, there's Dragon Age Origins, and there's Dragon Age Inquisition. I've only played Inquisition, and I wasn't super impressed with it.
Origins was
the first game released. Is Dragon Age Origins.
Oh my! How did I?
Because with a name like Origins, I just imagine it's a prequel.
I understand
because prequel.
Yeah.
It's like Tomb Raider Origins, Rayman Origins.
Tomb Raider Oranges, did you just say?
Yes, Tomb Raider Oranges.
Tomb Raider Origins. Dragon Age Origins. I don't know if there was a proper prequel. I remember it sparks a memory that there was a game before the Grey Warden game that originally came out. I have a feeling that may have been a mobile game, though.
Dragon's Dogma. That's what it was. Dragon's Dogma. They're both the same.
Oh, there you go.
No, they're not. I'm
They're
lying.
not in the slightest.
No, Dragon Age Origins was the original game. The original first game. Yeah.
Preceded by Panzer Dragoon Saga, and that other Dragon game, and anything with the word dragon in the title is linked to Dragon Age. It's not really.
How to Tame Your Dragon Age.
God. See, this happens. The devs leave, and just the loonies start running the asylum.
Everything falls apart.
Yeah.
Have you guys played much of the original Dragon Age game? I've
Oh.
only played Inquisition, and
man.
I was not impressed with it. Tell me a little bit about the original game.
I played it to pieces when it first came out. Like, I played the crap out of that game. I immediately went out. It seemed like the big RPG that was going to change my life forever. And it did. It was really, really good. It was like there was a really compelling plot. There was really likable and some completely detestable characters in it. It felt like you went through it, and if you went through it, I don't know if slowly enough is the right term for it, but if you went through it at the right pace, by the end of it, you really felt like you'd been on a real journey with these characters. It's got its problems, don't get me wrong, but you kind of you have to give yourself over to it a little bit, and that it's just a great game. It's a really great game. It really is. And the DLCs, all of the DLC is fantastic. I can't lie.
That's an impressive achievement.
It really is. I don't know. Have you played it, Flayers?
I haven't. My brother, I remember years ago when it was new, my brother got it for probably the Xbox 360 then.
Yep.
And the one thing I remember is that the main character, the player character, didn't have voice acting, and I thought that was really weird because in all of the other BioWare games that I recalled,
You almost said
when there was voice
Bioshock
acting-
games, didn't you?
yeah,
You almost said all of the Bioshock
no,
games.
definitely
Almost.
didn't say that.
He almost said
They
it.
were all voice act like Shepard. I was coming off of Mass Effect, and so I was expecting this voice acting, and there wasn't. So I don't play a lot of RPGs, so I never got into it. I'm
Wait,
sorry.
Did the main character in Dragon Age not have a voice?
That's what I remember. It might have been an Xbox 360 thing, but that's what I remember. So
Oh, I'm gonna have to check
Inquisition,
that now. I'm gonna have to buy it on
they had
GOG,
voices.
and I'm gonna have to check that because I'm.
I remember I
pretty certain
specifically played as the canary species. I believe it was canary or something like that because the male canary was voiced by Worf, the guy who played Worf from Star Trek. So you had to pick that guy. Now I'm imagining Worf from the actor from Star Trek doing the voice of a canary, which is it's an interesting visual to have in your mind.
Yes, yeah, it certainly is. Also, just a quick shout out to the voice actor who does one of the voices in Dragon Age Origins, Simon Templeton, who also does the voice of Kain in Legacy of Kain. One of the greatest voices ever to grace a video game. And the second I heard it in that game, I was like, I love this game. I absolutely love this game. But I'm pretty sure that's going to be a bad guy. Just because of his voice. But yeah, if you've never played Dragon Age Origins, I genuinely think you should go out, get Dragon Age Origins Ultimate Edition, because it's got all the... As far as I know, I haven't checked the GOG version, it will have... The Ultimate Edition should have the Awakening DLC with it as well, I think. I won't...
It does.
Actually,
it does.
It does. Excellent stuff.
Yeah.
Which, again, is really good. Like, really, really good. It kind of determines... It kind of needs you to play the original game in a certain way. Obviously not offering no spoilers. But when you play the next bit, it's when you play Awakenings, it's kind of explained to you that, oh, well, you actually did pick this bit. You actually did do this, that, and the other, but don't worry about it. Yeah, amnesia reasons.
I do have a question about the combat. Now, in Inquisition, you could switch between like third-person combat and tactical combat, and the screenshots I've seen of Origins looks more like the tactical combat. Was there two different kinds of things you could switch between in the first one too?
Yeah, it's the same basically. You had the tactical overlay, which I played it on consoles.
The tactical overlay sucked.
Awful.
When I used it,
awful.
It was
on
really
Xbox.
bad.
I can only assume.
Sense.
Sorry. Yeah, I can only assume on PC it would be better, but I've never played. To my shame, I've never played Dragon Age on PC yet. But yeah, I can only assume that's going to be easier on PC than it was on consoles because it was really bad to play the tactical overview on consoles. That being said, however, in Inquisition, which I also played on console, I found the tactical overview really useful. Because I was playing on a harder difficulty setting. Now, I don't know if the two are coincided, but I think the higher the difficulty setting, the more you actually have to think about, it's not just smashing something with a pointy stick until it dies. It's a case of...
Me?
well, I'm actually going to have to think about what I'm doing. Like I'm not just going to have to run in and just beat it to death with a stick.
Dude, I was playing as the two-handed hammer guy. All you do, you just smash stuff with a stick. That is your goal in life.
I played as largely a melee character just through lack of imagination, to be perfectly honest. But no,
That's what I always play in all RPGs.
Just
It's kind of fun. It's kind of funny because I made that character, and then I heard somebody on the internet talking about it, and like, well, the most boring character or class to play as is the two-handed swordsman guy. Like, well, great, that's the character that I made and I've played through the game so far. So I'm already playing as the most boring class, which might be why I'm really not super great on Inquisition. I don't know.
Well, yeah, that's just it. I mean, Inquisition. I mean, I know we're diverging a little bit, but Inquisition. I played as a magic user in Inquisition. I never play as magic users in RPGs because, quite frankly, I like the lack of imagination of how just being able to hit stuff with a hammer or a two-handed sword. And I like being the stereotypical protagonist and the hero, you know? So I played as, like, a mage who was born to the wrong family and people despised him and he made all the wrong decisions. This or that. I made a really not dislikable but unlikely hero. And I really enjoyed it because I figured out that there are, no matter what character you play as in a Dragon Age game, there is an equally good, if sometimes likable, sometimes not likable, version of that character in your party. So you want to be a mage, there's always going to be a powerful mage character. You want to be a fighter, there's always going to be a powerful fighter character. It's kind of just seeing whatever you want to play as, to be perfectly honest.
Was that how it was in Origins as well? You could still play as the other members of your party.
Play as the other members of your party. Yeah, you could control them. I can't remember if when you were walking around town, you had like 3 people, or when you were walking around in battle, you had 3 people, and you could directly control them, or you could indirectly control them using tactics, which is something that I never really got into. Probably because in Dragon Age Origins I was playing it on a lower difficulty setting, because I like an easy experience. But in Inquisition, was it Inquisition? Oh, it might have been Awakening, actually. Maybe it was Awakening. No, it was Awakening, because I remember one of the characters. Yeah, I messed around with the tactics a little bit more because I played it on a slightly harder difficulty setting. So basically, you can set it up like parameters. So if health is below 30%, use nearest health potion on yourself. If main protagonist is below 10% health, protect protagonist, that sort of thing. And you can sit and program a lot of this stuff in. I say program, I use that in humongous inverted commas. It's all through a GUI, and it's all quite standard stuff. But you know, you at least
still, it's cool.
I don't remember if you could do that in an Inquisition, but it reminds me a bit of the Kingdom Hearts. You could do that sort of thing.
Sort of, yeah. If you didn't use any of the tactical overlay stuff and you played it more like a third-person hack and slash run and gun sort of thing, then yeah, that was,
can't call it a running gun. There are no guns. The ranged weapons in that sucked. They sucked real bad. The crossbow is the most useless thing I have ever used in a video game. In that game, but
it is quite fortunate that in Dragon Age 2, which hopefully will one day come to GOG, as well as Inquisition, as well as all the other EA games, they actually fixed the crossbows quite significantly. I mean, Dragon Age 2 has some major problems, but they fixed the crossbows quite significantly.
But it's got crossbows.
Yeah, but it's got good crossbows. You know, that's a box quote if ever you heard one. Jesus, I should work in marketing.
It's in Inquisition, one of the first party members you get is this dwarf with a crossbow, and he starts off useless and he stays useless through the whole game.
Do you mean Varys, by any chance?
He was like a writer or something. I don't know what.
Yeah.
Do you expect me to remember what their names are?
Yeah, because he's named his crossbow Bianca.
I don't remember anything about that game except for waiting for the missions at the war table to finish.
Yeah, that was a bit of a pain in my side, to be perfectly honest.
Is there something like that in Origins? I hope not.
No, you don't really get that level of tactical overview with Origins. So Origins is basically, without going into too many spoilers, you are. It's very much your story, not it's a rebellion or it's anything like that. There's you and there's an antagonist, and there's a story to get rid of the antagonist. You know, it's steeped in its own lore, and you will learn all that lore very, very, very quickly. But you have to go in with the mindset of, right, this is my character's story. Inquisition's a little bit different. Dragon Age Inquisition, it's a case of you're kind of doing what you think is right at that time, and then suddenly someone turns around and goes, oh, by the way, you're now the leader. Cheers, thanks. Even though my character, when I played it, was completely despised by basically everybody and the worst decision to make. The two people who would have been far better decisions, tactically speaking, just sort of went, well, we need a leader. You're the leader, person who everyone doesn't like. Which made for an interesting game, I must admit. But no, there's nothing like that in Origins. There's a little bit of that in Awakening, but it's done personally really, really well. That's
I apologize. I apologize for talking about Inquisition so much, but it's the only game of the series that I've played, so it's the only. Although it's interesting to see people in chat talk about some of the characters who did show up in Inquisition. It's like talking about, hey, there's that Hawk character they're talking about. I know that guy. He died. Spoilers. I didn't know anything about him at all except that he died. And apparently that was supposed to be a big moment in the game. I didn't know who it was.
So you spoiled it again.
I didn't know who it was. I don't. It's like they had all these characters with these names that I guess are from the other games. Like, I don't know who you are. I don't care about you.
There was an element of that when I played Inquisition, to be perfectly honest. Like, because I kind of briefly brushed over 2. I played about half of 2, and I just lost complete interest. I've got to be honest. It just wasn't an interesting game to me. The story was a little bit bland, and the level design was just a bit subpar, to be perfectly honest. But the parts that I did play through, I obviously recognised characters from those parts. So like Hawk, like Varus, that sort of thing. Bianca, obviously. But then like in Dragon Age Inquisition, you had people turning up out of nowhere, and they're like, "Oh, it's Thingy from such and such a land," and I'm like, "I'm just gonna have to take your word for it, mate. To be perfectly honest, I have no clue who you are." I was like, you could be anyone from anywhere, and I just sort of, my only options are, oh yes, I remember you, you'll have to remind me, or there's no, I've physically never seen you before in my life option, you know? There's no, I didn't play that game option.
Exactly.
Oh, dearie me.
I mean,
also,
the main villain seemed like maybe he was somebody who was in one of the previous games as well. But he just kind of showed up. He's like, I'm the big bad guy now. I don't know who you are. I don't know if he was in the previous games. Now, that would be kind of cool if they had him, like, in the previous games, you, like, banished him, and then in the newer game, he came back. That'd be kind of cool. I don't know. I should probably play those at some point.
Well,
but they're really long.
In Inquisition.
Yeah, the main bad guy of Inquisition. Did he show up in the previous ones?
He's not, no. His oh, God, without spoiling this,
Careful.
His background, there we go, got it. His background is explained better if you've played the previous games. But I think it makes more of an impact if you've played the previous games and you understand the lore and the story behind that. I mean, it's still, fair enough, it's still a fine game to play on its own in isolation, but I think it's more poignant if you've played the other ones first, if that makes sense, because you're sort of like, that's Thingy, that's so-and-so, that's that person, you know? It's not a mentioned important character, but his backstory is important, if that makes sense.
Mm.
Anyway, we're diving into the realms of spoilers here, and it's becoming blatantly obvious. Right, we're going to stop talking about Dragon Age Origins. We're going to talk about something else. I want to talk about SimCity, because SimCity 3000, potentially the best SimCity game that's ever made.
Potentially.
I will go on record as saying that.
I've heard that about almost every SimCity game, though.
Even the new one?
Except for the new one.
No,
absolutely not.
And except for the mobile
EA.
one.
Sorry,
there are some people that prefer SimCity 4, and there's some that prefer SimCity 3000. I don't know. Now you have the option. You can have 2,000, 3,000, or 4. All are available on GOG.com. You should just pick one up. Your favorite.
Absolutely. Always on brand, Flayos. I absolutely love you for that.
That's horrible.
Yeah, so SimCity 3000, basically, it kind of feels like the perfect storm of SimCity games, to be perfectly honest with you. SimCity 4, yeah, alright, I liked it, but 3000, I always seem to go back to SimCity 3000. I don't know why, maybe I originally played it at a certain time in my life where it was very important to me and it had a big impact on city management and city building, but yeah. I don't know. It's just one of those games, to be perfectly honest. What do you guys think? I'm willing
I
to...
find it interesting that I've heard you like it, and I've heard people on Twitter talking about that. Oh, 3000's on PC on GOG.com. I'm going to buy it. It's the best SimCity game, blah, blah, blah. I never heard of SimCity 3000 until it came out on GOG. I've heard of 2000. I heard of the first one. I heard of the fourth one. I heard of the new one. I heard of the mobile one. I never heard of one with a 3000 name on it. So what does 3000 do that the others don't?
It's just better.
It doesn't help, Mike.
To be perfectly honest.
You are a game reviewer for a magazine or a website or something. Come on, use your words.
Oh, man. Was 3000 the one that had Rush Hour? What was the one that had Rush Hour?
Rush Hour was an expansion pack for number 4 for SimCity 4.
That was number 4. Okay, so I'm getting
Rush Hour with Jackie Chan and
yes.
and that black
Tucker?
guy.
Yeah,
there you go.
It was during the time of big movie franchise deals. Don't worry about it. Yeah, so 3000 basically it just feels like a very, how can I best put this? It's a very pure version of what SimCity should be. Now, when I played 4, it was essentially the same, but it felt like it was missing something. And then they released Rush Hour, which essentially let you pretty much drive around the city and complete missions, which was a lot more fun than I was expecting, to be perfectly honest with this. That's a big selling point for 4, also available on GOG.com. But 3000 feels like...
It was kind of like Simcopter or that...
Streets of SimCity.
Streets of SimCity, there it is.
Actually, yeah.
You played as cars and you shot each other and it was horrible.
It's not too far from the truth, in all fairness. Yeah, 3000 just feels like the last greatest standalone version of SimCity. Like, you can just sit there and just create this sprawling metropolis, and you can just watch all of the industry levels go up and all of the companies sort of change as your city grows. It's a really nice feeling just to sit and watch your city just sort of bubble away and grow naturally, if that makes sense. That's why I like 3000 the best, to be perfectly honest.
Can you still summon Godzilla?
I don't think you can in that one.
Off-brand
Pass,
Godzilla.
actually. Pass.
Not
actually.
Zilla.
I can't remember.
I think
it does have natural disasters, but I don't think it has a giant dinosaur.
I think it has the alien coming in a UFO for their monster attack, basically.
I remember
From what I remember, it's been a long time. So
most of the time I spent with SimCity 2000 was just calling in natural disasters and monsters and whatnot to destroy everything. I loaded up SimCity 2000 a few months back and I couldn't figure out how to play it. I couldn't figure out the UI. And I'm like, I know I played this game in the past. I know I did. I built a city at some point. When I rented it when I got it out from the library when I was a kid. I know I did at some point, but I cannot figure out for the life of me how to do anything.
Oh man, yeah.
Like I say, 3000 has a tutorial. I'm sorry.
Just got to read the manual, man.
Yeah, just read the manual.
2016. You can't expect people to keep reading manuals. I know the game didn't come out in 2016.
If you're playing an old game, you do.
Yeah. I think at this point, the guys at Maxis probably just turned around and went, everybody knows how to play SimCity by now. Surely people understand how this plays. The clue's in the title. We're not going to ask you to make puzzles, to solve puzzles or anything like that. Simulate a city. That's it. That's all you need to do. Anyway, yeah, SimCity 3000 is probably my favourite to return to.
That's a good price too. $10 price point, I think it is.
Oh, excellent stuff. Bargain.
I just learned that there's a Canadian regional pricing going on at GOG.com, so it might actually be cheaper for me than for you. I don't know, guys. This is news to me. So
how exciting! Right. Yeah. So what else has been released? So
We got
big,
so many things.
Oh, we've got tons, man. So the big EA
Just keep
games
going
were
down the
released.
list.
I'm
down the
I'm
list.
gonna. So the big EA games were released. Dragon Age Origins. Also, if you've not watched Immerse Kimp's stream of that from, is it yesterday? The other day? I can't remember.
I think it was yesterday morning, quite early.
It's bound to be an entertaining stream. That guy is an absolutely amazing streamer. If you don't already follow Immerse Kimp on Twitch, then definitely consider following him. And everybody you see on this channel, to be perfectly honest with you. They're a wonderful bunch of nutcases. We've also got SimCity 3000 and Dead Space, the EA.
Sorry, what was that? A wonderful bunch of what now?
No, a wonderful bunch of nutcases. Is that not a term you're used to?
It's a term I'm very used to. Thank you. Thank you for bringing up my horrible past.
That's quite all right. That's what I'm here for. Repressed memories.
I didn't realize we were sponsored by Planters or Emerald Nuts.
I don't understand that reference.
You're not the only one,
You're
man.
British. And you're
I don't understand that
Canadian.
reference.
Dang it! You don't know what Emerald Nuts or Planters is, man.
Sounds like a dangerous medical condition, man.
Emerald Nuts is a pistachio nut company, and Planters sell peanuts and other assorted nuts.
I know that.
Other assorted legumes.
No, I didn't know.
What nut is, right?
No.
Is it a bean?
Yes.
Dude, I don't remember. Moving on. What else was released this week, Mike?
So, we got The Real Texas Part 2, Part 1, Self Pop Goes Out at Night, which is mental. To be perfectly honest, I know.
It is. It is out of its dang mind. The Real Texas is already out of its dang mind. But, jeez.
I know nothing about
the Real
the game.
Texas?
No, I haven't. I watched the trailer for it. I was just like, I'm out.
What
this
is
is
this?
out of my league.
Okay.
I'm not drunk enough for this.
The Real Texas is a game populated entirely by rectangle people. Where they don't walk, they just waddle back and forth. It's hilarious. But you play as a guy who works on an office. He has dreams of being a cowboy. So when he goes on vacation, he goes to the most logical place you could to be a cowboy. He goes to a castle in England. And
obviously,
while there, he discovers a portal that goes to another dimension of a place called Strange, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that is the real Texas with Strange, Texas. There's all kinds of weird crap going on. You get a gun, you shoot people. And then the DLC, which is Cell Pop Goes Out at Night, has nothing to do with this guy because you're playing as an alien eyeball monster.
Yeah.
It's an interesting game because it's kind of like a point-and-click adventure game with actual some combat elements to it. Because I mean, you walk around, you collect things, you read them, but when you interact with something, they give you a text box, so you can type things into the text box that may work or may not work. And if it works, the game will tell you. If it doesn't work, the game will tell you. The game will give you verbs if you've done things to collect those verbs through conversations. It's really weird, but also really fascinating. If you've never given The Real Texas a shot, I'd recommend trying it out. There's one part where you're wrestling, you're like doing in the middle of a lucha wrestler thing.
Mm.
Gosh, it's such an odd game. You got to play it to really know it.
It just looks mental. I can't comprehend how insane it looks, to be perfectly honest with you. Just watching the trailer earlier today, I was just like, this still looks incredibly insane. It's like you say, it looks fascinating, but not something I would normally pick up. But I don't know. I might give it
I don't
a
think
whirl.
anybody.
Very bizarre looking.
Yeah,
I don't know if anybody would pick up The Real Texas outside of being like, this looks weird. Let's try it.
Yeah, I'm into incredibly strange games. Let's try this one for size.
It's by a company called Kitty Lambda Games, who may or may not just be one guy. But it's available in 3 different ways on GOG.com. You have The Real Texas Cell Pop Goes Out at Night, and The Real Texas Dusty Skies Edition, which is the main game and the DLC. So, if you're into weird games that you have no idea how to explain to people, which is a problem I'm having right now, then definitely check out the Real Texas. It's a real good time. There you go. It's a real
nice.
game.
Fantastic.
It exists.
So one game that I looked at and looks genuinely really, really nice is Fossil Echo. I don't know if anybody's played this. Fossil Echo.
I haven't. I was looking into it. It looks pretty it looks a lot like the Oddworld games.
It does,
Abe
doesn't
Odyssey,
it?
Abe's like Exodus. I've heard it's really hard. I'm interested in it. I'm interested in it. I don't know if I'll have time to stream it or anything like that, but it looks pretty cool. Apparently, I don't know. The reviews are kind of iffy about it, so I want to try it for myself. See how it is.
Yeah.
But
no,
we'll see.
absolutely. It looks like one of these really
It's beautiful,
nice,
though.
almost like hand drawn art styles. I don't think it is hand drawn. It looks hand drawn.
Is it hand drawn?
It looks it. I really want it to be.
It looks like it. Yeah.
The cutscenes look hand drawn, but the levels have like almost a 3D look to it.
Yeah. They've got like this weird 2D or 3D is 2D.
I think the
sort of effect to
characters
them, haven't
are. Yeah, I think the characters are 2D and the backgrounds
Yeah.
are 3D.
Ah, right. I see. Yeah,
It's
it
a
looks-
platformer of sorts, so it's like a playoff game.
It is.
Yeah. Coming to
So
a
we'll
stream
see.
near you. But I saw it and I immediately sort of went, "Oh, this looks interesting," because within the first few seconds of a trailer, I can tell myself that whether something is interesting or not by the mechanics, the art style, and interestingly, the music as well. And the music sounds really nice in it too. So it sounds like a very almost atmospheric soundtrack, which it sounds like the sort of soundtrack I'd listen to without ever having played the game, if that makes sense. Right, what else have we got? Let's have a quick look. Because I've forgotten, because I'm an idiot. I know. Dungeon Souls is currently in development. It's on InDev, and it's available on GOG.com.
Is that game still not done yet? Jeez.
Yeah.
It's been in development for a long time. I played it like last year when it was still in development.
I first heard about it last year, to be perfectly honest. I think I played a really, really rough demo of it last year, so I don't know if that was when it first started.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's currently still in development, and weirdly, it was around the same time I played Enter the Gungeon, and I thought to myself, did these guys is there anything going on? There seems to be a lot of games like this at the moment, to be perfectly honest. Like, I played that, I played something else, and then I played Enter the Gungeon, and I'm like, these seem eerily similar. Did you guys share a room at one point? But yeah, it looks nice. It seems like it's going to be very playable. It's currently available for, I don't know what the dollar equivalent would be, but just over £5, which, considering how our country's going at the moment, could be
$9.99.
absolutely anything. But yeah, it seems like a fun little game. It's still currently in development as part of GOG.com's in-dev initiative, basically where we take games that aren't quite finished yet but still show real great promise and put them on the store, and then obviously you get community feedback, you get insight from the developers, that sort of thing, which is cool, and something that also has that layer of curation that you would expect from GOG.
Mm-hmm.
It apparently draws inspiration from Nuclear Throne, Risk of Rain, and Overture. Nuclear Throne
that was the other one.
and Risk of Rain are both on GOG. Overture is not, but it's a roguelite, randomly generated dungeon crawler. But the main difference between this and other ones that I've played is that this one just throws tons of enemies at you all the dang time.
Nice. A randomized permadeath machine. That's the
There you go.
Yeah, that sounds like someone's
If you're into randomized
specialization, doesn't it?
permadeath machines with pixelated graphics, although this game, unlike some of the other ones, this game does have a big emphasis on lights. It's got a lot of bloom effects and that kind of thing, which is nice to see.
Yeah. It does look. It's a very pretty looking game, Dungeon Souls, to be perfectly honest. Which is not what we're currently talking about. Which I've forgotten completely to update the what we're currently talking about. I know, I'm such a pro. Yeah, and now I've actually updated it. We've stopped talking about it, which is amazing. There you go, show business. What else have we got? Oh, one of the big pre-orders we need to talk about as well, actually, is the Batman Telltale series, which I know.
Yeah, that's coming
a lot
out.
of people, which I know a lot of people are very excited for. To be perfectly honest.
Batman's a bit of an odd franchise for Telltale to grab onto.
I'm curious what they're going to do with it. Like,
we all said this about Minecraft, and that did insanely well, didn't it? So
Well, yeah.
I don't know. I've heard a lot of people didn't like it.
a lot of people
It might
bought
have
it, though.
sold well.
yeah,
but
a lot of people bought
wow.
it, so that's
We're
probably
well
what's-
reviewed.
Yeah, I'm interested. I'm interested to see what they've done. I'm interested to see how they're going to affect the franchise. What characters they're going to include, any sort of story decisions they're going to make that could potentially annoy hardcore fans. I know a lot of the other games. A lot of the other games did that. They made a couple of decisions, story-wise, that annoyed a lot of people online, but it was their decision to make, to be perfectly honest, and I'm interested in what Telltale are going to do with it. They don't...
Well,
sorry.
I'm cutting everybody off today. I am so
No,
sorry.
go
I have
for it,
a
go for it,
very bad habit. But there's one kind of thing that nobody has ever done with Batman when it comes to video games, and that is having him live up to the world's greatest detective.
I was thinking the
idea.
same thing. Same
No
thing.
one has done that. Rocksteady did that a little bit with the Arkham series. So I think that's the avenue that Telltale is really going to go. That's the only avenue that I can think of that they'll be able to go with the kind of games that they've been making. I hope that Batman Telltale series, which is just a terrible name, isn't just, well, it's a Telltale game with a Batman face on it, you know? I hope they do stuff a bit more interesting, and I hope they do play up the detective stuff, because most Batman games play up the punching dudes in the face, and I don't think punching dudes in the face would work very well for the Telltale style games.
No.
Definitely not.
No.
So
It'll be interesting to see what they...
I'm curious how it's going to turn out. I think it'll be cool, though.
The design looks okay so far. The art design.
I like the look.
It looks really nice, to be perfectly honest with you. Like I said, I'm interested. I'm not sort of swinging yes or no for it at the moment. I just kind of want to. I want it to be good, if that makes sense. Because I don't want it to be what you'd consider to be Telltale's first big flop, if that makes sense. Because it seems like every sort of game series recently that they've touched, they've kind of made a bit of a very popular franchise out of it, to be perfectly honest. Like we said, Minecraft, everyone sort of went, you're doing a Minecraft story mode? You what? That's never going to sell. Suddenly, from what I've heard, it sold incredibly well and people enjoyed it. And people did buy it. So, yeah. So with a franchise as well-loved and already as well-rounded as Batman, then I hope they do it justice, essentially.
Well, since Jurassic Park, the game, Telltale hasn't really made a flop.
You were going to bring this up.
Jurassic Park, the game, was one of the first Telltale games that really got the license treatment, along with Back to the Future, sort of.
Mm-hmm.
But ever since that game came up, they haven't made a flop. Yeah. Some of their licenses haven't been as good as their other licenses. Like, people liked The Walking Dead, but I don't think people liked Season 2 as much as the first one, and I don't think Game of Thrones was as good as people had hoped it would be. But yeah, they made a Game of Thrones game.
They did, didn't they? I completely forgot about that.
I don't know if it's on GOG or not.
It is.
Holy crap, it is. All right, well, there you go.
I
remember Outstar streaming it.
Yeah,
she did a Khaleesi little thingamabob cosplay.
Oh, so. Yes, she did, didn't she? Oh, I remember that now. I remember thinking, I have no idea who that character is because I don't watch Game of Thrones.
The Mother of Dragons. I don't watch it either, but I really like So.
People have been surprised with Telltale in the past, though. What they did with Tales from the Borderlands, that everyone was like, well, what the crap are they going to do with Tales from the Borderlands? Borderlands isn't really a story game or anything like that.
Actually,
and then it turns out to be what a lot of people are saying is maybe the best Telltale game out of them, outside of possibly The Walking Dead. So, I don't know. You can never tell with Telltale of what it's going to be till it comes out.
Yeah, absolutely. They've got a really good track record at the moment. They seem a bit untouchable. I hope that continues for them. I genuinely do. I really, really hope that continues for them. The cynic in me understands that won't last forever, however, and I just don't. I kind of don't want this to be the spike they fall on, if that makes sense.
No, definitely not.
I want it to be a franchise the entire internet or the entire geek population of the planet will care about if they get it wrong. But I have at least enough faith to think that they're not going to screw it up royally. So there you go.
As long as you get the option at some point to say, I am Batman, as an option, you'll be good to go.
Press F to pay respects.
Press A to say, I am Batman. Press B to say, I am Batman.
Oh my god, that should be the dialogue wheel. Every answer should be, I'm Batman.
Batman.
I'm Batman.
Regardless of whether it actually fits the
I'm Batman,
context or not.
then you're gonna love me. I'm not wearing hockey pads. There's loads of them. There's loads of them from that we could use. Anyway, moving swiftly on from Batman and the myriad of Batman quotes that are floating around my brain. What else have we got on pre-order at the moment? Let's have a quick look at this. Because I probably should have done this prior to saying that.
We got Worms. Worms WMD.
See, that's what I was double checking. I haven't double checked that. Fuck it, let's go with that. Worms WMD, yeah, big pre-order. Let's go with this.
It looks like a Worms game.
Looks like a Worms. Last Worms game.
You'd hope so. In all fairness.
Well, they got a little weird for a while and tried to do 3D Worms. It didn't work out. So
they did a mini golf game.
Oh yeah.
Putt wasn't in it, unfortunately.
Wait, what? They did a Worms mini golf.
Yes. Don't you know of Worms Golf?
No, I don't.
They had the 3D Worms games with Worms Golf, and then they had like a 4.
Oh man.
Yeah, we've lost Pie Man completely.
Hello,
so,
we're back.
You're back. Hello.
I was saying they did a mini golf thing, and then they did a forts thing. Worms was weird there for a moment with the PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
It was a weird series.
Yeah.
Well, if you like crossovers, Mega Pie Man, let me tell you about the Worms WMD All Stars pre-order DLC.
Oh, tell me about it! I'm excited.
Such a pro.
So, I'll talk about this part later. But there is apparently exclusive pre-order DLC that you only get if you pre-order, and that introduces like classic moves that are like staples of the Worms genre, such as the Kamikaze, something you can only get on pre-order. But you also get a whole bunch of masks and like helmets and stuff from Goat Simulator, Burrow Force, Saints Row the Fourth, Escapist, or not the Fourth, sorry, Saints Row 4, The Escapist, Rocket League, Orcs Must Die, Yooka-Laylee, Unturned, Payday 2, all sorts of stuff, classic Worms. So
it's weird. So I saw one of those,
crossovers.
And you can get a mask of the horrible Worms box art from the original Worms games.
Yeah.
The creepiest crap box art.
Totally.
Oh.
Do you know, whenever I think of Worms now, obviously I think of the classic game and some of the more modern ones, but still like 2D party Worms games, and they're the fun ones. The 3D ones, it's kind of the dark pages of gaming's history. We kind of try and forget that those exist, to be perfectly honest with you. But I always think, I was at one of my very first gaming events, like big press events, and I turned a corner and there's this humongous fiberglass worm. It's like 8 feet tall and it's on wheels, and there's a man in it walking around giving people hugs in a humongous 8 foot tall fiberglass worm. He basically looked like
horrifying.
he just escaped from a giant alien's chest. It was horrific. It was so horrifying. I turned around. I literally almost walked into him, and he was like, "Hey there, how you doing?" It's just this dead-eyed worm head. I mean, the eye was as big as my entire face. I was just like, I'm gonna die. That's it. This is exactly how that gypsy lady said I'd die. You know, I had absolutely no idea if I was gonna live through the day. Yeah, it's weirdly that memory always springs back to mind whenever I think of worms.
It's going to be interesting to see what they do with Worms WMD, because the last Worms game that came out, they tried to change things up by adding in different classes for the worms. So you had like the big worm, and you had the tiny little scout worms, and the normal worms. WMD seems to just be a return to the classic. Anytime the Worms series does anything besides the classic Worms game, it always gets a little bit weird.
Yeah,
but it seems like WMD is like, the old games? Well, here they are in beautiful, unfiltered HD.
I just don't like the whole idea of a pre-order exclusive pay to win business DLC. Like that's like I don't know. I'm okay with like exclusive skins for pre-ordering or anything like that. But when you lock weapons behind a pre-order,
Oh, do you get specific weapons
yes,
for the pre-orders?
yeah,
What?
okay. Let me read a little farther down here. So, what do we got? We got the concrete donkey. We got the Ming vase. Oh wait, maybe the concrete donkey is. Sorry, no, the concrete donkey's in the full game. But the Ming vase, the sheep lancer, and the kamikaze are locked behind the DLC. That's only available when you pre-order.
But the kamikaze is a classic.
Yeah. Well, you better pre-order, Pie Man, or you're never gonna use it.
I don't have any. I don't have $29.99. Are you out of your mind? Hopefully, though, this now since it's come to GOG, we'll finally have a Worms game whose multiplayer works on GOG.
Yeah.
Online multiplayer, that is. The local multiplayer, I think, works fine for them, but not the online multiplayer.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Oh.
Right, so as I quickly change what we're currently talking about, what else has been released this week? We've got a few others, but I am aware that we are sort of running out of time, so we'll just quickly nip through them. Now, Necropolis has been released recently. Was released a little while ago, but I am genuinely quite interested in this because it's one of them their 3D dungeon delving video games. And I'm aware that you guys, I'm not sure if you guys have played it. I haven't played it, but
Nope.
I just kind of understand that it just looks really nice, and I like talking about it because it looks really nice, if that makes sense. And it's got this really nice art style, and it seems like a really fun game that you can play co-op wise, and it just, I don't know, there's something about it, man. There is definitely something about it that kind of appeals to me. It's probably from the, no, not Grim Dawn, what was the other one we did? The multiplayer series that we did with...
Barony?
Victor Vran?
No. Victor Vran, that was it, thank you. It's probably from that. Anything that involves multiplayer that has any element of dungeon crawling just reminds me of that, and that just kind of makes my heart flutter a little bit. And I'm just like, yes, fantastic stuff, another one. But yeah,
unfortunately, the multiplayer doesn't work right now.
I know,
on the GOG.com version.
It is a bit unfortunate.
They're working on it, I hear.
Yeah, I do have a little bit of a GOGCast exclusive, so I will get to use my graphic. Basically, not in regards to the actual multiplayer, but when the multiplayer is actually updated, we're going to have the developers on stream in order to basically just interview them, which I think is really cool.
Don't promise that. Don't promise it, because then it'll never happen.
No. They've said it. They've said we're allowed to talk about it, so that's absolutely fine. They are, as they say, on the waiting list in order to actually come on the show. So that's really cool. We've got a couple of people like that at the moment. Actually, I'm starting to do some real work. In all fairness, we've got quite a few names of quite a few developers that are lined up for different weeks. Not going to give anything else away about that, but understand that there are some quite exciting guests coming in the next few weeks.
Definitely. Nice. I'm specifically psyched for one particular guest that I will not say.
Yes, absolutely, that we shall not disclose. Yes, so essentially, what else have we got? Fossil Echo. We talked about Fossil Echo. We talked at length about Zombie Night Terror.
Knights of the Sky is
Knights
out.
of the Sky? I have no idea what Knights of the Sky is.
It's a flight simulator kind of game that looks a lot like Red Baron 3D.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
okay.
it's an old flight combat simulator from like 1990, I think.
Combat Stimulator.
It's a night dive.
I'm looking. I might be streaming that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, excellent.
We'll see how it goes. Because we don't do much flight sim.
No, but I'm watching the trailer here and I'm seeing it's got like a whole 5 frames per second for some of these things. So
yeah, so I'm not sure.
Good luck with that.
I'm not sure. We'll see.
It's like these games like Red Baron and Knights of the Sky and that kind of stuff. They're cool from, I guess, a historical perspective in video gaming, but I don't know if I'd ever necessarily really want to play them again. I don't know. Yeah. I need more than 5 FPS, man. Although I'd love to see somebody make a new one or a new game in that style.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. That would. There is a bit of a message in chat at the moment from one of our streamers, Memories in 8-Bit. This is hot news from Necropolis. The devs announced to expand the game within the next 2 months to address the most common criticisms, including adding a new player class, new enemy types, make item descriptions more descriptive, and much more. Excellent stuff. So there, you've got that to look forward to as well. Yeah. Fantastic.
I've heard good and bad stuff about Necropolis, so I'm glad to see that they're still working on it. Because what people like, they really like, but what people don't like, they really don't like.
Oh, right, okay. Well, it seems like one of them games that would appeal to me, to be perfectly honest with you. So I'm excited to play it in its full, entire glory, and I'm also really excited by the fact that they will potentially be releasing new stuff as well. That's cool. I like that. What else has been released this week? Is that it? That's pretty much it.
Dream Break. Something was just released a few hours ago.
Oh, was it?
Whatever the heck Dream Break is.
I have absolutely no idea. That's gone under my radar completely.
It's got 2.5 stars on GOG. It looks like a cinematic platformer, kind of like Out of This World, kind of like Flashpoint, Flashback.
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm interested.
It looks the music sounds fantastic. It looks cool. I'm not sure why it's 2.5 stars. Honestly, I think it was a Russian game, and sometimes
translation's a little bit.
Sometimes things I don't even know what's the translation. I don't want to say anything. I might get in trouble saying stuff like that. But I'm not. It says it's point and click. The trailer looks like it's more of an action adventure. So I'm gonna tune in to tomorrow. At what time is it? Let's see. Tune in tomorrow. First stream of the day.
It looks
2 p.m. GMT, 2 p.m. UTC. Retrograde Tom's going to be streaming that, so I'm curious what it actually is.
Yeah,
so
graphically,
it's cool.
It looks all right. Reminds me a little bit of guys will be watching.
The music is sweet.
It reminds me a little bit of Interstellaria, also available.
I don't know what that is.
It looks a little bit like this, to be perfectly honest with you. But that's more of a game where you go down to a planet in a ship, and your little pixelated dudes or dudettes will kind of scavenge around for resources and then build stuff from the resources and then go up and then go to another planet, that sort of thing. But it kind of feels a little bit, I say feels, I've not played it. It looks a little bit like that just from the first couple of screenshots. I'm probably, as I normally am, completely wrong about that. But that's just my knee-jerk reaction.
But that's what it looks like, so.
Yeah, that's what it reminds me of anyway. So moving swiftly on, we've got loads of questions from chat in regards to the GOGCast specifically. We're not going to get to answer any of those, unfortunately, because we are wrapping up in a minute or so. However, especially you, Christensen, because you've sent in a tectonic buttload of questions, I will save them and we will ask them next week. So don't worry about that. We will always answer your questions. May not be this week, but we will always answer your questions. So I promise we will answer them. And I think that's about it. If we can fill the next 4 minutes with what we've been playing, that'd be cool.
Could we talk about the best game in the world?
Go on.
Pokemon Go.
I thought you meant Super Mario World, but okay.
So is this just going to be what we've been playing and we all go Pokemon Go and then just leave? Because I'm only a few hundred yards away from hatching a 10k egg, so I'm ready to go. I'm not kidding you. I'm out.
Have you played it? Have either of you played it much?
Yes, I have played it considerably.
He just walked 9 and some odd kilometers, so that's pretty good. I have not played it. I don't have a mobile device. I guess I could put it on the iPad, but I don't know.
Well, interestingly,
Pokemon Go is a really weird thing, not just because the game's kind of to me personally. I have never heard more people talk about this game. It's been on multiple times. It was on the local news. Yeah. There are people who talked about it who I didn't even know they knew necessarily. They had much of an idea of what video games were, but yet they've been talking about this thing. People who I never the life of me I would have ever thought would have been talking about something like Pokemon. I've been talking about it. It is freaking everywhere.
It is a sensation.
Crazy.
My friend. It is a sensation.
Crazy.
No friends who I didn't even know knew Pokemon existed, to be perfectly honest. Actually, some people who don't know what Pokemon are getting quite obsessed about it, to be perfectly honest. And in fairness, a lot of people will start to be a little bit negative about this. I think it's a good thing. Firstly, it's enhancing sort of gaming culture. To be perfectly honest with you, it's making something that was inherently. If you tried to explain what Pokemon was, and you were any older than say 15. People would sort of turn around and go, yeah, it's a little bit kiddie though, isn't it? And now, frigging millions of people are playing this. Like, a little bit of a statistic, the site APK Mirror, I'm playing it on a tablet because my phone won't run it. So I'm playing it on a tablet. My tablet isn't supported. I got the game from APK Mirror. I'm perfectly happy with this. Whatever.
It's a free game, so you technically can't pirate it.
It is exactly. I downloaded APK Mirror. APK Mirror normally gets 60,000 hits a day. The day Pokemon Go came out, they have statistically gotten over 3 million hits a day.
Holy
Statistically. Now, this could just be people just looking at the game, downloading the latest update. But still, that's just for unsupported devices. That's just where you can't go store, download. That's it. That's mental. Absolutely mental. There was a rumor that Nintendo are making like $1.5 million a day from the US on it as well, which is insane.
That's crazy. But speaking of unsupported devices, I saw an ad on a YouTube video. It was a pop-up ad that came up at the bottom, and it said a desktop version of Pokemon Go, which surprises me. When the whole idea of Pokemon Go is you're supposed to have it on your phone and go out and walk around and find stuff, and then how do you make a desktop version of a game that you're supposed to go out and walk around in reality using GPS coordinates to find stuff through augmented reality?
I think
how do you make a desktop version of that?
They hack it.
Do you put your computer strap it to your back and walk around holding your monitor?
You just tie your mobile phone to your dog and you just slap it on the backside and watch it run.
Get one of those backup batteries, plug it in. Get walking.
Right.
Let's get a really long extension cord.
We gotta go. We're out of time. So we will see you next time. Don't forget to stay tuned for Chrono Wolf, who's coming up next. Also, don't forget to tune in to the videos on demand on youtube.com/GOGCom and also the radio version, for want of a better term, at soundcloud.com/GOGCom. My name's Screaming Joypad. I'm joined by Mega Pyman PhD and Fleos. We had the Zombie Night Terror devs on. If you didn't see them, then go check out the video on demand. We will see you later. Definitely. Bye, everybody.
See ya.
Bye.
See you later. Are we good?